This year we have General George Patton's grandson come back to speak. He is a big supporter of this event. And we're adding another reenactment. We already do the Revolutionary War and World War II, but now we're doing that Braddock's defeat. So there's a lot going on. You won't get bored, I'll tell you that much.
You are listening to History Man, the platform for historians, curators, and authors to tell their stories of the American Revolution. Walk in the footsteps of heroes and proclaim freedom reigns. On today's episode, we have Paul Graham, CEO of the American Heritage Festival in Lake City, South Carolina. He's been a frequent guest of ours every year. Paul, tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, thanks for inviting me again, Eric. I really appreciate it, and getting the word out to people. Usually, our farm is about the Revolutionary War and Francis Marion, who, a spectator would be able to come out to the farm and walk in those same steps that he walked in. So that is the crutch of our festival, is the American Revolution and Francis Marion in particular, and his actions on the farm. So we have the 2nd South Carolina who comes out to support that. This year we also are including Francis Marion's Brigade. We also have the 33rd of Foot, which is a British unit, and the 23rd Royal Welsh Fusiliers, which are a British unit. We have the Mecklenburg Militia, and on and off we get the 3rd Continental Light Dragoons. And this year we're going to have several cannons, one of which will be inaugurated for the farm. We'll have our own cannon, a 3-pound cannon that we're going to be firing off, and the cannon master who built this is going to come down and do the first firing. So that's the Revolutionary War end of things. We also have sutlers who come and vend, items from that period, which is interesting, as well as presenters, encampments. And we also have a preacher who talks about life during that time, and he talks to his congregation. The spectators are the congregation, and he talks about how the British treat them and why they're upset with the British, and what they need to do about it. So that's an interesting take on the American Revolution, basically from a meeting house. So those are things that are related to the American Revolution. We also have the Georgetown Museum coming out to see us, and they have a big display of Francis Marion, and they know we are related to Georgetown through a few attacks on Georgetown. So they're coming out to support us.
Yeah, let me stop you right there and just remind our audience, or let our audience know, that you're no stranger to South Carolina. You actually traced your lineage all the way back to the first families of South Carolina. This farm is unique in that regard. Your American Heritage Festival has become a little mainstay in that community as you celebrate America, and it's situated on your family property that Francis Marion actually used during the Revolutionary War. I think that's pretty cool. I think it's a cool thing for people to rally around in that community, and certainly Lake City, has a place in history. Really, when you think about freedom in America, we say that the Revolutionary War was not started here in South Carolina, but we certainly won it here in South Carolina. And so when you think in terms of freedom and the ideals of the American Revolution, Lake City played a big part in that. And we thank you for putting this Heritage Festival on. How did that become a passion project of yours?
Well, my father really wanted me to inherit this farm. He said it never was out of the Graham family hands. I'm from Michigan, which made no sense to me. But as I researched this and inherited this farm, I came up with a lot of different things. One of which is that my grandfather was born and raised on that farm. He would have been the seventh generation of Grahams, and he went off to World War II to be a medic for the 94th Aero Squadron, and changed his origination papers to work in the Detroit auto industry at the turn of the century, around 1918 or so. So that's why I'm from Michigan. The interesting things that I found were when I went down to Lake City, to the farm, and to our home there, my granduncle had artifacts and paperwork and all original wills from our first generation to now. And so I was able to build out our family tree and look at the time during the American Revolution, and Francis Marion popped up a lot. And really every family member, and it was a large family member, had claims against the American Revolution. And I was able to trace those receipts and build a bigger story and really figure out what our play was in the Southern Campaign with Francis Marion. And by the way, Lake City was formerly part of Williamsburg, from the Williamsburg militia.
That's Williamsburg militia were huge in the Francis Marion story, as he combined all those militia units from that area and pushed back against the British in what been called a guerrilla war. So before we get too far into this episode, tell us the dates and times of your event this year.
February 21st and 22nd. We also have, just to let you know, we do World War II encampments for the Germans and the English. And actually, we're going to have some Italian Axis powers soldiers coming in. And we do a reenactment. We have an encampment there also. The farm's big enough so that we can have these different eras and not, cross paths. We also this year are bringing in the French and Indian Wars. It's called Braddock's Defeat. It's a time where George Washington, as a young officer, kind of started to get his name out there. And so we believe that that's a piece of the revolution, because this is where a lot of these men learned how to fight, especially Marion with his guerrilla war tactics.
Well, it's interesting you say that this is a tie-in to the Revolutionary War. South Carolina played a role in that. The British came up through Charleston and were supported by state troops, South Carolina state troops, as they went up into the mountains of Tennessee and then on up to West Virginia at Fort Pitt, Fort Duquesne, that area up there. Kudos to you for bringing that historical aspect up and telling those stories. What is a website that people can find this information on?
The American Heritage Festival, www.theamericanheritagefestival.com. We're also on Facebook. And if you really want some current pictures and what we're doing and artifacts we display and speakers, and actually the Highland Games, all those types of things you can find on Facebook.
Wow. So do you have the Highland Games coming out there this year?
Yes, we do. Marion's men were mostly Scots-Irish, and we've been able to trace a lot of these people back to Scotland, through Northern Ireland, to Charleston, and up to Williamsburg. And so we feel we want to celebrate that Scots-Irish heritage. And so we have the Highland Games, and we bring in Scottish vendors in our more modern area. And we have a Celtic band called the Steel City Rovers. This is their second time they'll be here. We're excited to have them. Very popular, and they come from Toronto, actually, Canada.
The property in Lake City is technically situated at the center of a number of battles from the Revolutionary War period that you and I have spoken about in the past. You get excited when you talk about these. Tell us a little bit about the geography of the property.
Well, behind us is a swamp that has several different names, believe it or not. One of them is called the Impassable Swamp. Another one is Lynch's Lake, which is kind of carried to today, and also they call it Lynch's Creek sometimes. But that connects to the Petey at Witherspoon's Ferry. This is an area that has been a secret of Marion's for a long, long time. And if you look at a map, we call it the Circle of Fire. Many battles happened around the farm, from Witherspoon's Ferry, Indiantown Church, Black Mingo, Kingstree, Lower Bridge, Mount Hope Swamp, Ox Swamp, Tiercoat Swamp. And we also have found relations to Battle of Great Savannah and Snipes Plantation. So there's a lot of battles around it, but there's only certain ones that we know we're connected to, and those would be like Georgetown, Witherspoon's Ferry, Indiantown Church, Black Mingo, Kingstree, and Tiercoat Swamp, as well as Great Savannah. So it's kind of exciting. Yeah, I get excited about that and finding those connections through paperwork or artifacts or receipts. So it's been a fun journey learning about Francis Marion and his inner workings, and how he was able to do what he did with the support of the PD community. Without that support, he would never have been able to do what he does. And without those that particular community that came largely from Scotland via Northern Ireland, and who had known each other for generations.
One of the cool things that I found going to your festival is that you didn't just keep all those artifacts to yourself. You actually have them on display out there every year. Tell us a little bit about some of those artifacts that you have on display.
Well, some of them are ours, and some of them I've collected. We have a powder horn that came from the American Revolution. But I was actually told by an expert that it was probably a hand-me-down, that it originally was at the French and Indian Wars. So I thought that was interesting. We also have it's a horn that's wrapped around your neck. It's a small horn. It's for measuring the powder before they put it in the musket. And we have some artifacts from Marion's campsites. We have a cannonball that he would hide his cannonballs in the swamps, in the rivers. You know, a few decades ago, some of these places were found, and so we have one of those cannonballs. We also have acquired original brown Bess, which is significant to us because Battle of Tiercoat Swamp, when they brought the prisoners from Tiercoat to our farm, the British prisoners, they also got 80 saddles, brand new saddles, and 80 brown Bess muskets. And so it's nice to see that we have a brown Bess musket now. And the last thing we've just acquired, well, it's not the last thing, because we have a lot of signatures from major players, officers. But one of the neat things that we just received is a dragoon's harness and holster for his horse, and it's all leather with bear skin on the outside of these holsters. So it's a pretty beautiful piece that we just acquired.
This is several years of this festival, and it's grown out of an idea in your head, and then you've kind of, through blood, sweat, and tears, you kind of put it into motion, and it's grown over the years. Tell me how it's grown.
Well, we get more and more people who realize that this is a pretty big piece of America's history. As you know, obviously PD region, but the Southern Campaign, and we get more and more pieces together. For instance, we know that Light Horse Lee was in the area, and that we have receipts for him supplying General Greene's army, they would call it, because he was part of General Greene's army. So all this history is starting to attract big players, and we're excited about that. We have the Bruce and Lee Foundation this year is sponsoring us. Last year we had the South Carolina Humanities, the 250th, sponsor us. And this year we actually had the National Endowment of Humanities looking at us. So we are growing in that way because people are understanding that this is a vital part of history in one of our darkest times, where we almost lost the war. And Francis Marion was able to change that trajectory to a win from a pretty big overall losses, in the South.
If our listeners were to bring a family out to your event this year, what would they find for the family?
Well, they're going to find children's games. They're going to find Celtic music. They're going to find food, different food vendors. Actually, this year we're going to have turkey legs, which is going to be kind of exciting. We have different food vendors. We have the Highland games. Those are very interesting to see what the brute strength of these people can do, like toss telephone pole type things, and so that's a very fun thing to see, and that's right up front. And then we have Scottish vendors, so you can walk those shops, and then after you go through that, you get into sutlers, which are period vendors from the colonial times and presenters of how things happened at that time, and encampments for the British and for the Continentals. Then you go to World War II, and they have Germans and the Americans. This year we have General George Patton's grandson come back to speak. He is a big supporter of this event. And we're adding another reenactment. We already do the Revolutionary War and World War II, but now we're doing that Braddock's defeat. So there's a lot going on. You won't get bored, I'll tell you that much.
Well, what time does it open and close?
It opens at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And depending on if you want to go to the bonfire at night, you're welcome to do that. They fire off cannons. They put steel wool in the cannons and the muskets, so when they fire it, it looks like fireworks. And they sing around the campfire, all the reenactors, and it's a really nice time. But as far as active events like the reenactment, that pretty much ends around 4:00. And then as it gets dark, they transfer into the big bonfire in the back of the farm.
Well, as we come to a close of this episode, I've got to ask you, Paul, like ask a lot of my guests, what does liberty mean to you?
Liberty means to me a freedom to of the people to govern the government, for the government to be of the people, so that they reflect the people's needs and what they need to be taken care of. Not in a socialist way at all, but to be able to practice their religion, to learn their history, to do the things that will help them aspire and to capture their dreams. Those types of things are what liberty means to me.
What would you hope people take away from this festival of yours that you have going on every year?
Well, for the PD region and for South Carolina, I want them to take away a lot of pride, because without this community, without these South Carolinians, we probably, we may still be British. So there's a lot of pride in that, and it's deep history, and it has been expressed in many ways, and this is the heart of it, where it's happening. And so, and from a larger scale, I want the nation to recognize that this community in this area helped found this country and changed the trajectory of the American Revolution. So that's what I want them, and I also want them to see a quality event, and I want them to have fun, and I want them to be able to stand in that time period and see what it smelled like. I mean, I just see what it looked like and smell it, and know what it was like at that time. So that to me is the best way to learn history, when it is part of your environment, instead of reading a textbook, and skipping through paragraphs and learning dates. I think this is a much better way for the public to have an understanding of Francis Marion, World War II, and the French and Indian Wars.
To give us an idea, or give us the particulars of this festival, how people can get a hold of you, what the dates are, what the times are, just kind of give us an overview of all of that. And,
okay. They can get tickets at theamericanheritagefestival.com. TheAmericanHeritage.com. AmericanHeritageFestival.com. It's best to get tickets ahead of time, because ticket prices do go up on the day of. So now is the best time. I think the tickets are a little bit less than $20 a piece. There's family packs for $36, includes 2 adults and 2 children. Children under 10 are free. But come to our Facebook page, the American Heritage Festival, and also go to our website to learn our history and to see who's coming. And the times start at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning, and till probably 8 at night if you want to stay for that bonfire, and they call it Festival Lights. And then on Sunday, it starts again at 10 a.m. and it goes till 4.
Well, I know the spectators, the people who come out and see this festival and participate in this festival, not only the ones who are participating as reenactors and stuff, but also the guests that come out, have all been very positive, and it's grown over the years. So I hope everybody enjoys it. Thank you so much for coming on board with us today, Paul.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it very much.
All right.